This is the Voices of Herriman podcast, the podcast that amplifies the voices of our community. Nestled here in the heart of Herriman, where everyone has a story. Whether you're a Herriman native, a newcomer, or an admirer from afar, I got you on this adventure. Welcome to the Voices of Herriman.
Perfect.
Alrighty, welcome to Voices of Herriman. We are down here in Redemption Bar and Grill, and we are with royalty today, Miss Kaitlyn Schreiner, Miss Herriman.
Yes.
Welcome.
That's me. Thank you.
We're so glad to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
So how you feeling after Town Days?
Town Days was incredible and amazing, but for everybody that was working and volunteering, it was also exhausting. But it was very fun to be with so many members of the community, just celebrating our city, whether it was with the carnival or the artists or just all of the different food vendors that were there. It was incredible to all be together. I got to meet so many more people and do a lot of networking. And it was an amazing experience. But now that it's over, it's kind of like sad. Like I miss it. Like I think it was the Monday after Town Days. I was like getting ready to go to Butterfield Park. I'm like, oh no, it's done now.
It's done.
It was
so
crazy.
If you had to pick one thing that said like, this was the highlight of Town Days, what would it be?
Oh, there was this sweet little girl. She was probably 5 or 6 years old. And I think she followed me around all day and we let her try on my crown and she wore my sash for a couple hours and it was by far my favorite thing. And she was like, when I grow up, I want to be Miss Herriman so that I can serve. And I was like, yes, that is what it's about. And I think that was just the sweetest and most tender reminder to me about what my purpose is as Miss Herriman. It is to serve. And I love that just at such a young age, she recognized that that's what I was there to do. I was there to serve her. I was there to serve the community. And that was just the best reminder and genuinely just the little cherry on top from all of Town Days.
That's so cool. Well, let's get to know you a little bit. So you said that you were the only girl in your family. Explain that. No sisters.
No sisters.
No female cousins.
So we've got my mom and it's just the two of us. I've got 3 little brothers and then most of my cousins are boys. Like I've just always been outnumbered in that area. So people always feel bad for me because they're like, you're the oldest and only girl in your family? That's so sad. I'm like, no, it's not. Like I've always had my own bathroom. I've never had to share a room and nobody bothers me about stealing my clothes or shoes. So I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And then you're teaching all those boys how to handle, giving them all the girls advice and everything like that. Man, that's a great way of thinking about that. Yeah. Now, you served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes,
Where'd you go?
I served in the England Leeds mission. So it's the whole northeast part of England from way up at the Scotland border all the way down to a little past Nottingham. And it was the best. I miss my time in England so much. Like the people there have my heart.
How many different accents did you hear up there?
Oh, so many. It's like something that we don't talk about all the time. Like in America, but their accents vary like by town. And I actually not to be prideful, but I got to a point on my mission where I could hear like the different accents where I was like, oh, you're not from this town. Where are you from? Because you can start to hear the variations.
Like but a My Fair Lady type of experience.
Oh, absolutely. You go like 3 miles and the accent's different. So I heard way more than I could probably count, but it was incredible.
What was the best part of your mission?
Oh, that is so hard to sum it up. I think the best part of my mission was just seeing the change that people can make in their lives. I mean, granted, as a missionary, we're trying to make that more spiritual difference. We're helping them come to know Jesus. We're helping them to come to, understand the gospel or the world in a different way. But just seeing people change their lives from I'm homeless and I'm selling drugs all the time to, hey, sisters, like I stopped doing drugs. Like this is amazing. Like, religious aspect aside, their life is improving and just helping people improve the quality of their lives from big ways such as conversion to little ways as I saw people get jobs and overcome addiction. And I just saw people that were depressed laugh and smile for the first time in months or years even. That just those little differences, those little changes that people made in their lives, just that has to be the highlight of my mission.
Did that impact you, like wanting to go into teaching, or was teaching kind of something that was always?
Oh no, teaching was never something I wanted to do. I think my mom was a teacher, and she didn't love it that much. And so growing up, she was always like, "Do you want to raise other people's kids?" And I was like, "I don't know." And most of the things that come with teaching, I'm just not a huge fan of. And it actually happened on my mission. I decided I wanted to start teaching because I kept having this desire that I should become a teacher. And And I was like, nah, that's not what this feeling is. Like, I shouldn't be a teacher. I just want to be a leader. I just want to make a difference. And there was one week that I was trying to figure out kind of what I wanted to do when I returned home, because that transition is incredibly difficult. And I was like, I want to like have a plan or a goal. And that week we had taught like a bunch of lessons. And after every single lesson, someone was like, Sister Schreiner, have you thought about becoming a teacher? I was like, all right, message received. I will think about this. I will ponder about this. And so I came home and I decided I wanted to teach religious education. So I currently work as a seminary teacher. But in the next 3 years, I plan on transitioning into administration with public education. So once I kind of got in the seminary classroom, I just fell in love with teaching and with my amazing students and watching them grow and change. And just the relationship between a teacher and a student is just an incredible one, that I'm just obsessed with that transition and help and the assistance of helping them to become something more than they were at the beginning of the school year. Whether it's I'm more confident, or it's, you know what, like I'm starting to know things that I didn't know, or I actually have friends now because I learned how to make friends, or I hate my parents less. I don't know. It's teenagers, right? When they make that transition, it's the most rewarding feeling.
So you said you wanted to transition from the church education system into the public education system, and really into administration. Is really the focus. Tell us a little bit more about like your focus on the administrative side. Like, what do you want to do with that side of things as an administrator?
Of course. So the main shift that I'm hoping to make is in administration. There is actually an administrator for almost every school that's in charge of like curriculum development and or teacher training. And that's kind of where I want to be, because I feel like our school system right now, especially our public education system, is so incredibly set up, but it's also right now very one size fits all. It's a very traditional setting. You've got a teacher, you've got a whiteboard, you have a bunch of students. And although that's successful for lots of students, it's not successful for all students. Just in this last graduating year, 12% of high school seniors did not graduate high school. And I think the main reason for that is because they don't feel seen. Like, I'm a very traditional learner. So school was awesome for me because I loved the whiteboard, I loved the PowerPoints, but my younger brother is not a traditional learner in any way, shape, or form. And because he's more hands-on learning, school was just not successful for him. And his entire life, I saw him get written off as dumb or unsuccessful, or he doesn't have a promising future for no other reason than he learns differently. And so I want to get into administration to make this shift that we're more learner focused. If we have a student that learns differently, I want us to find ways in the classroom to target that student. And so I want to go into the curriculum just to make it more learner focused. Education's not a one size fits all. It's not socks, right? We have to like change it and help it for the students.
That's a great analogy. So let's talk a little bit about your service as Miss Herriman.
Yeah.
So like we've talked about, this is not my forte. I don't know as much about it as I would like to. Tell us why. Why did you want to get involved with Miss Herriman?
Oh, that is quite the story, because I am not a pageant girl in any way, shape, or form.
This was your first one.
This was my first. Yeah, Miss Herriman was my first pageant ever, and Miss Utah was my second pageant ever. So it was kind of like baptism by fire, but it was fun. So I mostly am just very passionate about like making a difference. I like to do something that I know is going to impact people, and so I was trying to make a difference in my community, and I was just having like a more difficult time accomplishing that as Kaitlyn. And so I saw these people that were title holders and that they were given like this platform within the city to make a difference. And I was like, that's what I want. I want to serve, and I want to have backing to serve in the way that I want to make that difference. And so I decided that Miss Herriman was probably going to be a good platform for me. So I went and I competed, and nobody was more surprised than I was when I won. I was like, what in the world? I get to do this. And so as Miss Herriman, that has been my focus. As much as I know lots of other title holders are very focused on the competition aspect of it, I am just way more focused on making that difference, because for me, that's the whole reason why I did this in the first place. I only have 1 year to wear this crown. And so I'm going to do everything I can every day to make that crown be the best that it can be, but also to make the biggest difference that I can in this year.
Well, I think that most Herrimanites would agree that you have definitely fulfilled that, and we expect you to till November to really continue to do that. Tell us a little bit about the program itself. Like, for people like me that are not as educated in it, we know that there's different types of beauty pageant.
Yeah.
Tell us, like, give us like a quick rundown of what it entails, what it looks like.
Of course. So the Miss Herriman program is an extension or part of the Miss America organization. So Miss Herriman is a local title. So all local title holders will then compete for a state title, which is Miss Utah. And then all state title holders compete for the national title of Miss America. So it like very much is like a pyramid of getting up to Miss America. But the Miss America program is based on 5 main, we call them the pillars. And it's service, scholarship, success, style, and sisterhood. And so within those 5 things, we try to emulate each of them in everything we do, right? We want to be successful. So it's focused on helping women to achieve their goals. And then it's focused on scholarship. So everything that we compete for, we win scholarship money. So when I won Miss Herriman, that's actually going to cover my last semester of my senior year at BYU, that it will help me to receive that scholarship that I'm able to graduate now debt free, which is incredible. And so it gives, scholarship opportunities so we can fulfill our educational goals, which as a teacher, I love, right? As an educator, I'm like, I'm a fan of this. But then it also focuses on like the individual, but also how can we serve others? How can we benefit ourselves? How can we become something more than we are? And how can we help others in that process as well? So it's just a national program dedicated to making the world a better place and by empowering women.
Awesome. I love that. So what are some of like maybe like a pros and cons of like, what does Miss Herriman do really well as far as the program goes? And maybe what's an area that we can improve as a community or as a program to be more successful to propel our young ladies to be able to have these opportunities going forward up the pyramid?
Of course. So I feel like one of the things that we do incredible as a city of Herriman is the Miss Herriman program. We have incredible supporters. The Friends of Herriman organization, I cannot begin to explain how supportive they are and helpful they are. Like there are so many times I call Emily and I'm like, I want to serve. Please tell me how. And she's like, we have this and this and this and this. And I'm able to be involved in that way. And we also have amazing support from our city council. Like Mayor Palmer has been such an asset just in my year as Miss Herriman so far. I mean, even only 7 months into it, he has been such an incredible supporter. But I think one way that we can grow is there's such a stigma around pageants and such a stigma around like beauty contest or scholarship programs where it's like, those girls, like they might be stuck up or they're not in this for the right reasons. That I hope as a community, we can shift that stigma because there are so many wonderful opportunities for young women in this organization, both service wise and scholarship wise, that we can highlight over, okay, how skinny are you and how pretty do you look on stage? Like that's not really what it's about anymore. It's about the girl that wears the crown, not the crown itself. And so I want that all young women to feel empowered to join our organization, to be part of the organization. But I think it's starting to get rid of that stigma of, oh, this is just for preppy, pretty girls who like want to wear a crown. Like, no, it's about that difference. And I want to kind of see that change. And we're making the change. Like just in the past year, we've seen a change already, but we want to make that bigger change so that when we have our competitions in the fall, we have a lot of contestants that want to come and they want to compete and they want to be part of that.
I love that. That was a great quote. That was a really great quote.
Oh, thank you.
So you are a great performing artist as a soloist and as a tap dancer. Yeah. Tap dancing was actually your talent.
It was.
That's what you performed as. You did a song that maybe is a little bit off the beaten path of a lot of other
tap dance routines, songs,
yes. Right? So, I mean, I think tap dance, so I think of like, Gregory Hines and Fred Astaire and Jim Kelly, right?
That beautiful jazz.
Right? Singing in the Rain. You picked a Christian song made famous by Lauren Daigle. Actually, the first time I heard it was on American Idol with Megan Danielle. But in the song's called You Say, that's an important song for you to be able to do. Why was it so important for you to choose that type of song and that song particularly?
Yeah. So with the competitions, we probably are able to show the judges who we are in about 15 minutes. We've got 10 minutes for interview, and then every other aspect of the competition maybe gives us 5 minutes of stage time. So I've got 15 minutes to show the judges who I really am. And our talent is our longest segment of the competition. We have 90 seconds to show our talent. And so I wanted to show something that was me, something that both illustrated what I believe in, but also a message that I want to share. I want to share to teenagers everywhere. Hey, you matter. Your voice matters. Who you are matters. And when you feel weak, if somebody around you isn't saying you're strong, I know that God will say you're strong, or whatever higher power you believe in. I know that whatever power you believe in believes in you. just as much as you believe in him. And so I wanted that message to be relayed. And so I know it was super unconventional to choose kind of a slower song, but my tap teacher, she's incredible. Her name's Wendy Isaacson. And she was able to sit down with me and we listened to the song and she's like, you know what, Kaitlyn, there are some cool syncopation beats in here we can pull out. And we created something that I felt like represented me, but was also competitive and professional, but it also represented kind of who I was on the stage in a way that I felt was more authentic than had I done something from Singing in the Rain or some jazz solo, that I felt like it wasn't just a routine. It was like my soul on the stage. It's a very dramatic way of putting it, but that's the way I felt when I was up there. I felt like this is the message I want to share. This is the talent that I want to share. This is me. This is me in 90 seconds. Here you go, judges, take it or leave it, and it was very nice to be able to share that. So although it was kind of unconventional, I felt like it conveyed what I wanted it to.
It's you. And that's like you talked about, right? It's not about the crown. It's about the girl wearing the crown.
Yeah. And I refuse to be anything but who I am. So even though it might not have been like the most like traditional method, it was who I am. And if I win, like when I won Miss Herriman, it's not that I'm going to change. It's I'm me. And now I'm me as Miss Herriman and I'm able to do that. And so I just feel like I had to be my raw, authentic self in that process.
Awesome. So you talked about how Miss America does the fitness program. And we were able to talk about how that became kind of a different journey for you. But I would love for you to explain to everybody your how you came with that relationship with health and fitness.
Of course. So the health and fitness area of competition, they actually just added back about 4 months ago. So we found out in I want to say it was March, but I could be totally wrong, that we would be competing in health and fitness for Miss Utah. And we hadn't competed in it. I hadn't ever competed in health and fitness because we didn't do it for the Miss Herriman competition because it was brand new, a reintroduction back to the Miss America competition. And instead of doing like the traditional swimsuit like it used to be, now it's just health and fitness. And so we're going to be in Rebel athletic wear because they're one of our sponsors. And then it's to help, with the American Heart Association. And so it comes from a really good place. And at first when I saw this, I'm like, awesome. I got to hit the gym. I got to make sure that I'm eating healthy. I got to put down my ice cream cones. I got to be healthy. And that's the way that, right? That's the way that I originally approached it is I was like, I need to go to the gym. I need to be healthy. I need to do these things. Well, about 11 weeks before the competition, I actually got in a pretty serious car accident. I got T-boned on I-15 and it actually took my car completely off the road and it totaled my car and left me in I was fine, but I was not fine, if you know what I mean. I was having all of these migraines. I was having severe back pain, all of these different things. So then health and fitness started to look different because running every day and going to the gym and lifting and everything that I had been doing before, because that was going to be health and fitness, was no longer possible for me. And so my health and fitness completely changed where it was you know what? Health and fitness now looks like I'm going to the chiropractor. Health and fitness now looks like I'm making sure that I'm going to massage therapy. Health and fitness now looks like it looked so different. It started looking like taking breaks and drinking water and taking naps to help with probably a concussion that I had. All of these things, it completely changed it. And so it became less of how do I look in activewear and more of am I actually healthy? Because health is not something that I feel is always illustrated from an outward perspective. It's not always, I've got my six pack. I'm in this kind of shape. No, health looks different. We talk about mental health as well. That's a huge aspect of health and fitness. Are we taking care of ourselves mentally? Are we doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we are at a functioning and healthy state mentally and physically? And so I feel weird saying this, but I appreciate the car accident and the fact that it gave me this new perspective that when I take care of my body takes care of me. And it's not just taking care of my body as I'm hitting the gym and I'm going on runs and I'm doing my diet, but it's also I'm seeing a doctor, I'm doing things that I need to do to improve that. And so I just loved that this introduction of health right at the time of the car accident just helped me see that taking care of my body does not look like keeping my VASA membership active,
That's huge. I think health and wellness is so different to different people, especially at different times in their life. And it's important not to compare ourselves with past or future or necessarily the person next door, but it's improving ourselves just the same way with service or education or things that way, right?
For sure. And it's all, I feel like life is really just a competition against yourself. Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I moving forward? Am I better than I was 5 years ago? And if that's where our level of, competition is I've improved. I'm getting better in this aspect or this aspect or this aspect, we're winning. we're doing it
Absolutely.
right. It's not about, oh, I got to be better than that person. Like, that's not it. It's, am I better than I was yesterday? And if we're making that progress, if we're continuing to change, for me, I feel like we're hitting it on the head. We're doing it right.
I love it. Now, I've got a quote that I'm going to read to you about education. And I'd love to get your feedback on this, especially because this is kind of a passion thing for you, for your career. It's by Benjamin Franklin. He says, "Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I remember. Involve me, and I learn. Teach me, and I forget. Excuse me. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I remember. Involve me, and I learn." What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I love this quote. I love that you actually chose this quote. I didn't know you were going to share this one. I actually have this quote printed in my office where I work.
Oh,
it is my favorite quote ever, because for me, I feel like that's what education is about. We can stand up and we can lecture. We can stand up and we can tell, but that's not the process of becoming. The process of becoming involves knowing. My students and I, we've got a joke, and it kind of is that in order for you to learn something, you got to have three things. It's got to make sense in your brain. It's got to make sense in your heart. And then you got to go do something about it, right? I can tell you, hey, this milkshake is really good at this restaurant, but you're never going to know it's good at the restaurant until you go and you try the milkshake and you're like, oh yeah, I've learned for myself, this is a good milkshake, right? We have to do all of those three things, right? We can't recommend something we don't know. We can't say, hey, go try this restaurant I've never been to, but it's good. Like, you can't do that. You have to have that experience. And I think it's the same in education. We have to involve students in the education. We have to involve them. And there's this almost stigma within education right now where it's teacher versus student. The teacher's like, I will drag you to success. You will pass my class and you will learn something that you will delete from your brain the day after the final. That's not what education's about. It's about the process of becoming. It's involving them so that they become something, involving them in the hard, messy work we call learning. That's what learner-focused education is all about. It's putting the students in the driver's seat of their own progression by giving them empowering experiences, by teaching to their individual needs, but also by teaming up with their team. It's not a teacher's team and a student's team. It's we're all the student's team. I'm just a coach on that student's team. And their parents are also coaches on that student's team. And we're all here to help that student to be successful in whatever way that is. And so I love that. I love that quote. We're involving the students, right? This is what it's about. It's not that we're teaching in spite of the students, as we're teaching because of the students. They're the future of America. And if we want to make a difference in our future, we want to build for our future. Yes, we can do all of these incredible things, but it has to start with the students. It has to start with the rising generation, because come 20, come 30 years, all of us will be wonderfully old. And who are we going to turn everything over to? We have to prepare them so that they can take over, so that our society and our world can continue to function the way we want it to.
I love that. I love that. I want to switch gears up. We're going to get into some lightning round questions.
Oh, I'm excited.
This is presented by Redemption Bar and Grill. If you come in and you mention the podcast, you get 50% off macaroni and cheese balls.
Oh, sounds delicious.
Also, on Monday nights from 7 to 9, we have country dancing here. So if you want to come and learn how to country dance, Monday nights here at Redemption is your spot. Now, you were actually involved in Magic Moments of Utah.
Yes.
Which you do a little bit of Disney princess work.
Yes, I do.
So we're going to ask some Disney princess.
Oh man, the pressure.
Quick hitters to go after it. All right. Who would your Disney princess BF be in real life?
Oh, Anna from Frozen. She's the one that I play, or I tell her story most frequently. And she is just a spitfire. I feel like we would be best friends because she is so just spunky.
All right. Who is the worst prince?
Oh, the worst. Hans. I mean, he was really bad.
Hey, was he a prince?
Well,
I guess he's a prince.
He is a prince.
Like way down the list, right?
Yeah. I feel like Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty, though, he just he doesn't really have a plot line. He just exists in the last 5 minutes of the movie. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Who would be the best road trip princess buddy?
Oh, the best, probably Rapunzel. She loves adventures, she's like, I got to see the world. So she would probably be the best.
She would be
her or Pocahontas. Both of them would be really fun to go on a road trip with.
Who would you least like, or who would you least want to be able to, or let me phrase that right. Who would you least want to fight? Like if you're in a boxing match or like an MMA fight, which princess would be the scariest to fight?
Okay, probably Moana, because she is so headstrong. I feel like I would back down. I would like show up to the fight and I'd be like, yeah, no, you got this. Like, she's just a very passionate, get it done princess that I probably would not want to be in a fight in her. Or Elsa, because she has magic.
Yeah, Elsa's a good one. Now, again, we're not going to promote violence in any way here.
Hopefully not.
Or crime or anything else. But if you had to rob a bank with the princess, which princess would you choose to be your co-heister?
To rob a bank? I don't know. Okay, probably Snow White, because Snow White like takes care of all the 7 doors. So she like has experience like cleaning up and stuff. She'd make it where we leave no trace. You know what I'm saying? Like she left no trace. She would make it where we leave no trace. No one would know what happened.
Yes, I love it. All right, let's switch to some regular questions for just a minute. That's a great answer. Man. All right, what's the best color? The
best color, yellow. It's my favorite color. The bright, obnoxious sunshine, like you can't frown when you look at it, yellow. That's my favorite.
I love it. Who's your hero?
Oh, my hero. Okay. Candace Perucci. She is currently our representative. I've gotten to know her pretty well with this title, and she just is my hero. She advocates for education in the Senate. She like serves so selflessly, and she's just a wonderful representative for our city.
I love it. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word? Oh, discombobulated. It's so fun. It like means that you're not organized, but it's just like, it just rolls off the tongue. Discombobulated. Or, oh, well, now I forgot it. I have a word. It's the fear for the number 13. Triskaidekaphobia. That's it. That's a really fun thing to say. I was like, well, now I forgot how to say it. Triskaidekaphobia. That one's fun too.
That is a good one. Discombobulated. That's a great word.
It is fun.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got?
The best piece of advice? To never apologize for who I am. I got this advice actually from one of my mentors. I was doing something and I kept saying, I'm sorry. And she was like, why would you apologize, Kaitlyn? It's who you are. And I just realized, like, she's like, if you're not having malicious intent and you have nothing to apologize for, don't apologize for who you are. And that was just something that completely changed the way that I kind of looked at things, that like, you're right. If I believe certain things, or if I do certain things, or I'm passionate about certain things, I shouldn't have to apologize for the fact that I care, or apologize for the fact that I want to do these things. And so that was kind of something that I loved, that as long as my intent is good and I'm just trying to be myself, I don't need to apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
Oh, the worst piece of advice. Oh, there's probably a lot. Probably the worst piece of advice I got was to not use my voice. Like, somebody told me that I should be quiet. Like, not quiet in the sense where I was like being really loud in a moment where we should be quiet. They were like, you know what, Kaitlyn, you could just like not. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, it was kind of the worst advice. Like, keep quiet. Don't share your message. Don't share what you're passionate about. Don't try and serve. I was like, that's the worst advice possible. So
that really is really the worst advice ever.
It was awful advice.
All right. So last question. You have used your platform in incredible ways. And I think, speaking, for me and speaking on behalf of Herriman, we appreciate the effort and the service that you've put into it. You have done a lot and have a lot of passion with working with the youth. So what is the message that you would share with the youth of Herriman?
The message that I would share with the youth of Herriman is that your voice matters. What you're passionate about, who you are, who you want to become matters. And that there are people in your life, teachers, educators, parents, mentors, friends that are there to help you to progress. And so if you want to progress, you want to grow, do not hesitate to reach out. Obviously, I always advocate for education in that process, because for me, I've seen that education is a tool that helped me to become who I am today. And I want our students to have that same opportunity to become something more than they already are. But I want them to know that the process of becoming is different. The process of becoming a doctor, the process of becoming a hairstylist, the process of becoming a business owner, the process of becoming a mom is completely different. Do not doubt the process. Embrace the process, but also trust the process. The process will look different, but you still need to be willing to put in the effort to get there. But don't let people tell you that you're wrong for who you want to become.
That's very powerful. I really appreciate that. Obviously, the Voice of Herriman podcast is built to allow people like you the phenomenal, the phenomenal Miss Herriman with an opportunity for us as Herrimanites to hear your voice. So we're going to give you your voice for a minute and let you share anything else that you'd like to share with our people of Herriman.
Well, this is so exciting. I think there are so many different things that I am passionate about and that I care about. But the thing that I care the most about is something called the aggravation of marginal gains, which is the idea that as we improve several things by 1%, we improve overall performance by 100%. It's a conversation I have with my students. It's a conversation I have a lot. And as a community, I believe that if we work together and we all find little 1% ways we can serve, maybe it's volunteering with the Friends of Herriman, maybe it's supporting our local sports team, maybe it's volunteering at prom or chaperoning, or I don't know, different ways that we can improve the community by 1%. If we all put forth our effort, our community will then increase just in our community involvement, in the community family that I believe that we have and that we can have when we're service-based and we're family-oriented and we care about each other. We build essentially like euphoria, and that's what we want. We want to build a community where everybody feels welcome. And as one of the communities that unfortunately has some of the leading, statistics when it comes to suicide, when it comes to depression, I believe that as we serve, we can help those in our community that struggle. We can lift them up as we continue to lift up if we all do just 1%. So that would kind of be the message that I want to share. 1% better. If we all kind of give that to the community, I believe that everything can and will change.
Well, you heard it here, guys. 1%, 1% better. So we'll sign off with our signature calf trays. You ready?
Yeah.
Herriman, we got you. On behalf of Miss Herriman, thank you for paying attention. Thank you for tuning in, you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Voices of Herriman podcast. I hope you've been inspired, moved, and have connected with the stories and the passion shared by our community. As I wrap up this episode, remember, the journey does not end here. Keep exploring, keep sharing, and keep connecting. Together, we can create a vibrant, supportive, and thriving community. If you have a story to share, a suggestion for future episodes, or just want to say, hey, I'd love to hear from you, reach out on social media at Voices of Herriman and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Before we go, a heartfelt thank you to Mix@6 Studios for producing and editing our podcast. Head over to mixat6studios.com to learn more about all the amazing services they offer. To the amazing individuals who have shared with me their stories and our fantastic listeners, you make Voices of Herriman a meaningful experience. Until next time, take care, stay connected, and remember, I got you.